The most exciting player in college basketball is usually a male like Zion Williamson or Trae Young, but right now, it's a woman named Caitlin Clark. Look at her game against South Carolina and you'll see why. She's basically the female version of Steph Curry. So Caitlin dropped logo threes like Steph Curry, passes with the vision to CP3, beat taller defenders like Trae Young, but what killed them was the trash talk. She told a player, "You're down by 15 points, shut up." Hit him with the "you can't see me." But she treated this girl like Ben Simmons. That hand gesture is so disrespectful. So people are legitimately asking, could she play in the NBA? A million tweets about it. This guy asked, how many NBA players is she better than? Maybe Killian Hayes? Jay Crowder for sure. I mean, she's a better shooter than almost all of them. That has to translate somehow. Exactly. With the NBA becoming less about physicality and more finesse, how would the best woman do in the league? Two women have actually been drafted to the NBA. In 1969, a woman named Denise Long got picked by the Warriors and was supposed to be Steph before Steph. Such a great shooter, Denise scored over 100 points 3 times in high school without a three-point line. But in 1969, the pick was vetoed because women weren't allowed to play. But in 1977, that changed. The second woman drafted to the league was Lucia Harris, who was so good, she was on the first women's team in the Olympics. The Jazz picked her, but she never played. So 2 drafted, 0 have made it to the court. But women have gotten so much better since then. And one of the best challenged an NBA player to one-on-one. Brittany Griner swore she could beat prime DeMarcus Cousins. Why not? She's 6'9", most dominant WNBA MVP, but when NBA players were asked about that, they laughed in her face.
I'm glad she's that confident in her abilities. She's also a little delusional.
I like the confidence, BG, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I'm sure everybody else. I got cuz on that one.
If there's no referee, I'm gonna go to the ATM and I'm gonna sell my house and I'm gonna put all my money on DeMarcus Cousins.
Damn, that was harsh. But Caitlin has a totally different skill set. Brittany Griner would have to beat Boogie with physicality, which won't work. Caitlin shoots threes, passes like Steve Nash, so why not? I asked Landry Harris, video coordinator for the Pelicans with Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday. His literal job is to study NBA players. Do you think Caitlin Collins could play in the NBA?
Playing in the league?
Yeah, why not?
I think at some point it just comes down to the speed and physicality of the game. If you've ever sat close to an NBA game, like in the lower section close to the floor, you see the speed and the way guys are able to close out. You wouldn't be able to get a shot off. Like the closeout speed, and then you got to get rid of the ball. Like I think people underestimate how fast and the recovery that some of these NBA guys can make on the defensive end. But the other side of that is these average Joes, these high school players who never played in college, these guys who are sitting on the couch, drinking a beer with their friends, watching the Final Four, and they think that they could play and beat Caitlin Clark one-on-one. You couldn't. She would cook you. That needs to be acknowledged as well, too. That is just as dumb.
Okay, so according to an expert, Caitlin may be a better shooter than some NBA players, but it wouldn't translate because the defense is so much better than what she currently faces. She may not get a shot off. Her only hope would be to stand in the corner and maybe score a few points per game. But that doesn't work in the NBA if you can't play defense. The only guys who can afford to be a defensive liability are like Trae Young or Steve Nash by dominating on offense. So the best woman is not better than the worst NBA player. Killian Hayes is better. Thanasis Antetokounmpo is better, I'm sorry. But Caitlin still dominates the NBA in one thing: popularity. More people watched her game against South Carolina than any NBA game on ESPN this year. A league with LeBron, KD, was beat by a 6', 21-year-old from Iowa? In fact, since the NCAA allowed athletes to make money, there are 5 women who are millionaires or about to become millionaires. 7 of the top 10 play hoops, which is great for these girls, except colleges hate it and want to take them down. The two most popular players are the Cavender twins of Miami. They were transferring to Miami and posted this picture at dinner with a booster, but the NCAA said that's illegal and handed down suspensions and fines. But the problem is much worse things happen all the time. Just up the road, a high school quarterback was promised $13 million if he signed with Florida. But once he did, the boosters backed out. Where's the NCAA on that? They come down on the twins for a dinner? Why would they go through all that trouble of looking like a hypocrite? Because they hate how the twins make money. If you look at their Instagram, it's easy to see why they're so popular. I mean, they're good players, but it ain't the jump shot. In fact, if you look at that top 5 list, most of the girls aren't the best in their sport, but they are the hottest. And that really bothers the NCAA. They are freaked out about basically becoming OnlyFans for college sports. I'm sorry, but that's just how the world works. Also, they see how their own fans react to these girls, and it's not great.
Give us Libby! We want her!
Okay, that's a little creepy, but it's not the only reason that women's hoops is so popular. The other reason is the players stay at one school for 4 years. That's what the men's game was like back in the day. People would watch Kareem win 3 chips at UCLA, or love to hate the white guy on Duke. Now, the best players in the men's game are gone in 1 semester, and nobody knows who any of these new kids are. But Caitlin Clark has been balling for years, and it allows more casual fans to catch on and hear the buzz and then eventually watch her. And when you compare that to the NBA, stars are sitting out all the time. Every night feels kind of meaningless because there are so many games. So the NBA is freaking out. They just announced plans to change the regular season. They're going to have an in-season tournament and a minimum games played for every award. So if a guy wins MVP, he had to play 65 games at least. Joel Embiid might be an MVP candidate, but he's only played 65 games 1 time before this year. As long as the women produce players like Caitlin Clark that we watch for years, they may one day overtake men's college hoops. And the NBA already got beat this year. But sometimes the men are not big and strong enough. There is a giant conspiracy, has been for years, about LeBron James. You know, that he takes PEDs. But something LeBron just recently said blows my mind. Either he is totally innocent and has no idea people accuse him of PEDs, or he just confirmed it. Check it out.